Introduction time for this week's episode of the Super Divorce Supercast.
Hey guys.
Hey. Today you're going to get another edition of the SUPERSCARY show on the Supercast, talking about I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Yeah, brand new movie from just last year. Neither of us knew anything about it except its title, and we watched it.
And today you will know something about it if you choose to listen to that portion of the program.
Yeah, we say at the beginning, if you want to avoid spoilers, to skip forward about 10 to 15 minutes. You might want to make that like 20 to 25, just to be sure, because we talked about it for a while.
We did.
But, so if you don't want spoilers on the movie, make sure you skip through it. Otherwise, listen to it, because it's really cool.
We had a good discussion about it.
Yas.
And also, we did some SUPERFANATICS talk, some comic talk.
Yeah, a little bit.
Talked about comic numbering.
As we have before, I'm sure, but it still pisses us off.
We can talk about it over and over again. You can listen to it over and over again.
Yeah, because that's what you keep coming back for.
Listen to these...
Coming back for more.
Two old men griping about their damn comic books.
Goddamn comic books.
And, what else?
We got a little bit of wrestling talk in there at the end.
We did.
David Spade almost died.
Mm-hmm.
We do Beer Me times 4 today.
Yeah, we had to make up for last week.
So we make up for it 4 times. We talk about work. Talk about my boss and what it means to be told you're doing a good job.
And we talked about where you can find us soon.
Yeah.
We're going to be hanging
real
out.
Soon. We're going to be in public.
Hitting the town, out on the town, living the nightlife. So
come hang out with us, and you'll get details when you listen to the actual show.
Until you can hang out with us, though, make sure that you keep up with us online throughout our various forms of social media, through our official .com, which is superdivorceme.com, through places like Instagram, where you can find us at SuperDivorceBand, Twitter at SuperDivorce, and lately we've both been doing quite a bit more on our personal accounts.
Yeah.
And you should keep up with us that way too, because we're staying active.
Yeah, guess who's back on Twitter, bitches? Me.
Who are you on Twitter?
Bender if you nasty.
Bender if you nasty.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys can find me if you just search my fucking name, but it's if you can't, it's Bender if the letter U nasty. Bender if you nasty.
And I'm on Twitter at Nicholas Villars. So I don't have...
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Same thing on Instagram. My name, Nicholas Villars, on Instagram.
It's way easier than finding me, but, you know.
But you're there now.
Yeah, I'm there.
So that's good.
Send some of your followers my way.
Okay, yeah, I'll make a post about that.
I have no idea how it works, but, I, synced the contacts on my phone, and it gave me, a shitload of people that are not contacts in my phone.
Really?
And then when I go to find friends or whatever, it's just here's the 6 people in your phone that have Twitter, and I'm I'm pretty sure more than 6 people in my phone have Twitter, but I don't know, I guess. Maybe they don't have their phone numbers on their Twitter
that could be.
Or something.
Yeah.
I guess, but no one, I don't know.
Okay, well,
post about me.
I'll
Send your 130 followers my way.
Yeah, do that. Follow us there, and
Instagram too.
Yeah,
both of us.
Yeah, I said mine's the same.
Oh
on
yeah,
Instagram.
Mine is Bender Butt
at Bender Butt
on Instagram.
And new thing that we're doing. We've actually I emailed or messaged you the other night. We've gotten 4 emails.
Woo woo!
Finally. We had to.
All it took was bribing.
We got some bait on the end of the line on the hook now. We got 4 emails now so far at our divorce club at superdivorceme.com, because if you email us at said email address, subject line "to sweet me," and then put your shipping address in the body of the message, you will be entered for a chance to win every week. Every Sunday we're going to draw a winner for our weekly Too Sweet mix.
Yeah.
It's going to be a CD that we will create, decorate, and put a playlist on there, and then ship it to you free of charge.
Yep.
So all you have to do is email us if you want in on that. And you only have to email one time. We'll keep your information, and every week as that list grows, you'll have a little bit harder time winning. So get in early.
Yeah.
And you might win like fucking, I don't know.
More than one.
More than once. You could win like 10 weeks in a row.
And we're going to number each one of them, and we're never going to start over.
That's right. We'll never start over. It'll never be a reboot. I've got the very first one, CD right here. It's a CD, a physical CD.
Yeah, we're going to mail it to you for free.
We're taking you back a little bit to when people used to burn a CD, make a nice mix for you. Bender and I are going to alternate weeks. So
yeah,
this week I am going to create the playlist. Next week it'll be Bender's turn, so on and so forth. But do that. Email us. You have a good reason to now. And also...
And don't feel like you only have to include your shipping address in
Right.
the body. You can talk to us too, you
Yeah.
know. This is just extra incentive to get involved.
It's
you
an
know?
icebreaker.
It's an icebreaker. Hey, you want a free CE? Well, let us know how your fucking day is.
And we'll write you back and
Yes.
tell you how our day is going to.
And also if you win. But
Yeah.
you got to be lucky. And there's already 4 people in.
Yeah.
So,
But there's still time for you to win this very first CD.
yeah.
Do you realize what this could be worth like fucking 5 years from now?
It could be worth like $10.
It could be.
And you got it for free.
So get in on the ground level, as they say, right
Yeah.
now, and do yourself a favor. Really.
Yeah.
Just give it a try. And enjoy this episode as well.
Yes. See you in the outro.
Bye.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
We are not getting a divorce.
Hey! It's Nicholas here.
And Bender.
It's the Super Divorce Supercast.
Yeah.
Triumphantly this week, we return with Beer Me.
Oh, yeah. Sweet.
I brought a sampling up tonight.
Ooh.
So,
Good Lord.
we'll grab it home.
No.
Well,
I'll drink
Awesome.
one.
I was going to split these.
Ooh,
So
we're
we'd
splitting them.
yeah, since we didn't do one last week,
Oh, man.
I thought this way we could try.
No, this is a good
You know,
idea. This
we
is a
could
good
get a
idea.
few in.
I'm unprepared. Well, I mean, I'm prepared, but I'm like, I feel like we're just jumping in right now, and which is fine, but it's just been a very blah day. I was just discussing it with your wife downstairs. It's just like a, you know what I mean?
One of those, huh?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why don't you tell me about it?
Well, nothing. I mean, it's like it's nothing in particular. It's just like the holidays are finally over, which is cool. You know, I think even last podcast we still had New Year's to get through, didn't we?
Right. Yeah, we did.
Right. So the holidays are like officially over, which is cool. But I've been working a lot. And this week, normally I would have been off yesterday, but I wasn't. And I'm supposed to be off tomorrow, but I have to go into work for a work meeting now. And it's just
When did you find out about the meeting? Was
Today.
it- Oh.
we're going to do it next Wednesday, but I have a dentist appointment and also a veterinary appointment. And so I told them that, and they were like, well, fuck. So now we have to reschedule this meeting. And finally, my boss was just like, well, how about tomorrow? And I was like, okay. And he was like, is that fine? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, if it's a problem, you have to tell me. Like, just tell me if it's a problem. And I was like, it's fine. And he was like, okay. You know.
So it was a problem.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go in tomorrow, but, like, if I don't go in tomorrow for this stupid meeting that he wants to have, then it's going to be, like, another 2 weeks of him saying, we've got to have a meeting soon, you know? And I just don't want to deal with it.
Well,
but it also means that I'm going to set foot into work every day until next Wednesday, starting last Sunday.
What's the meeting going to be about?
I don't know. It's just probably the same shit, different day.
Maybe you could do... Why don't you... I mean, fuck, everyone's got Skype now. Why don't you start doing your meetings online?
Yeah, like my boss could finagle that.
How old is he?
Like 63. He came up to me today, and he's like, he was joking around, and it was fine. But he like picks up my phone because I had it sitting down, and he was like, "Why is your phone so big?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like you have an iPhone too. I don't know. Like,
does he just have like the regular?
I think he has an iPhone 5 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little smaller. He might have a 6. I don't know. It might be a 6, yeah, but not a 6 Plus. He's just like, why is your phone so big? And I'm like, I don't know. And then, like, because I have that, like, raised to check or whatever, so you just, like, pick up your phone and the lock screen automatically opens.
Yeah, I got it.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So he, like, picks up my phone and the lock screen, like, pops up, and it's a picture of Luther Strode from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And he's, like, facing forward and he's like got his fists up, you know,
yeah.
And they're like all bloody and the whole background is red,
mm-hmm.
And he has his mask on and everything, and he's just like, my boss is just like, really? And I'm like, what? And he's just like, what? Really? And I was like, it's a comic book character. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
what was his problem with it?
Nothing. He didn't. I think he like it's. That's just how he jokes. He didn't have an actual problem. He's just like.
He's just acting like
that's how he's teasing me, I guess.
Like, he didn't believe there's anything wrong with it. He was just acting like there was.
Yeah,
and
it's like it's him teasing you, you know, like, ha. But and I was just like, it's a comic book character, like, that's Trad Moore. He's my, like, favorite comic book artist. I love his work, and he was just like, okay, bye, and, like, left. He left for the day after that. Okay. That was our final interaction.
All right.
But I have another story after we do beer me here.
Oh, yeah. Here.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're drinking out of the, what are these called? The Sam Adams...
Perfect pint.
Perfect pints.
That you are not a fan of. You're not a fan of the name.
I'm a fan of the glass, not of the name.
You think it's unoriginal.
They should be called, like, I don't remember what I said last time, but suddenly Excalibur is coming to me. And they should be called...
But that wouldn't have anything to do with...
No,
like Sam Adams, brewer,
Patriot. Yeah.
Patriot. What if it was like the patriotic pint?
Why does it have to have pint in the name? Why
because
can't
it's
it just
a pint.
I know, but
glass.
But you don't have to call it. You don't know what. You don't say it's a Stein, 8 ounces, or it's just a Stein. Like it's a, you know.
Well, it would have to do with the revolution. We'll talk about it more in a sec. We're drinking Sierra Nevada porter. Supporter.
Okay.
So
it does look. It looks a little darker.
Yeah.
So.
I like it.
That's good.
It's definitely different than your usual Sierra Nevada, which you're not really a fan of. So it works out for you.
Right. This is good, though. This is good.
And I'm also a big fan of porters, so yeah.
Yeah. This is a good beer.
I like this. I prefer this to the original Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Miles. Yeah. By miles, I do.
I don't know if this came in a a holiday pack or if you can actually buy this in a 6-pack. We had some people over on New Year's Eve. You stopped by for just a bit.
I did stop by for a bit. I certainly would have hung around much longer, but once again, my lady is sick, so I went home to tend to her and, just kind of do New Year's that way. But were she not sick, we both would have been over here, I'm sure.
Well, the other attendees in the evening brought an assortment of beer.
A large assortment,
yeah,
I recall.
And they left it all here, too.
Really?
Yeah. So, thanks.
Well, yeah. Thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie has made Beer Me happen this week. So, yeah, there was New Year's. What did you end up doing when you went home?
Cody came over. Because
you guys watched the movies, right?
We did. He came over and I had gone out and I bought that Di Serono, right? And he brought over some Yingling and he brought over another beer. I want to say Rolling Rock. Not sure. I don't really remember. But I poured myself a couple, like 4, Di Serono and Dr. Pepper cherries, which is super delicious. And
I don't think I've ever had Di Serono.
Really?
I remember I've seen the commercials. The one that comes to mind is the guy who's like, Di Serono and milk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super good. And the most satisfying thing about it is like when you unscrew it and you can spin the bottle cap, and it'll spin really fast, but it'll stay on the bottle. So you just kind of and then like pull it off real quick. But made a couple of those and found a live stream of the ball drop on the computer. So that was kind of cool. We had Terror Train going on the TV, and then we had the ball drop on the recliner there, and we paused the movie for New Year's and had just a little hey, like Cody and I were drinking and Lindsay was just kind of like nursing cough medicine and orange juice, but hey, Happy New Year, and then we just like turned the movie back on and smoked hookah. That was it.
We didn't even have like a proper countdown.
Really?
I like looked at my phone. It was like 12 or 11:59. It was like, oh well, it's almost New Year's. We got our little drinks and like a few seconds later, I looked back and it was like, all right, well, it's 2017. There you go, and then back to whatever we were doing.
Yeah,
there wasn't much fanfare. I'm glad to have made it through 2016 though.
Yeah,
so that's a plus.
Yeah, I mean, it was low key, but I had a nice New Year's still. It was cool. Part of me wishes there would have been like more of a party to go to or something, but for some reason I feel like the holidays this year were so draining. As good as they were,
I felt the same way.
It was really good. It was a really good Christmas and everything.
It just felt like a lot of work this year. I don't know why.
I don't either.
A lot of running around, a lot of having people over, more than we have in the past. We had Jess's brother and his wife and their son were here. So we had like one Christmas at our house like at the end of November. Yeah. And then we went to her aunt and uncle's like 2 weeks later. And then we went to her parents' house on Christmas Eve. And we did Christmas with my mom like 2 weeks before Christmas. And then we went to my grandma's on Christmas Eve as well. And then people came over on Christmas Day, and it just seemed like constantly there was something you were building towards where it's like, all right, well, we have to get ready for this. And then finally now it's just getting back into a sort of calm phase where you're kind of picking up the pieces and trying to reassemble yourself for the new year.
It was, I don't know, it was crazy. So low key, but it was really good. I mean, I gave my lady a kiss at New Year's, and I leaned over and I gave Cody a hug, and I was like, glad you could be here, pal.
Yeah. It was a little sad because on my Facebook feed, like in the memories thing, the picture that we took in our kitchen like 2 years ago came up.
Oh yeah, with like it was like
Cody.
Cody and Aria were there,
Yeah.
and Lindsay and I, and Ivy,
Mhm.
and was it still Bob at the
Yeah.
time? Ivy
Yeah.
and Bob, and then Tyler,
Yeah, and Kyle and Trinity.
and
Brittany and Robert.
Yeah, everybody was
Yeah,
there.
Full house that year.
Yeah.
And we had quite a few people here last year too.
Yeah, I don't know if
Might have been about the same crew.
Yeah, I don't know if I partied last year either. I think I stopped by again. Possibly. I can't remember.
And then like
I definitely didn't get trashed. This New Year's was the first in a couple years that I've been like super drunk.
I didn't even get buzzed.
Really?
Yeah, I had a few drinks, but they were spaced out over the course of the whole
I
night.
just knew I was gonna be home,
Yeah.
you know, and like I knew Cody was coming over. And I knew we were just gonna chill, and I was just like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything tomorrow because the next day was Sunday and I was off work.
Mhm.
I was just like, I'm gonna get drunk because I haven't been in a while, and I did. I did get drunk.
To me, it was nice though to wake up without a hangover. on the
Well, I
first
didn't
of the
have a
year.
hangover.
So, well, I don't know. Even if you didn't have a hangover, I feel like you feel better when you haven't drank the night before
Yeah.
or gotten drunk.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a full-fledged hangover.
I wanted to have a sloppy start to my New Year.
Which I've done plenty of times in the
Yeah.
past, but not this year. And that's okay. That's one down.
Yeah, already. It's good. It's good stuff.
Mm.
But I have this other story for you about work right quick. Kind of, let's like, to summarize, just sort of long story short, I kind of got into just a little back and forth with my boss because, like, he came back from vacation this week,
Mm-hmm.
and the first day that I saw him, I got a big, like, 20-minute lecture about all the stuff that I didn't do while he was gone or whatever. And it was all stuff that just like minor, just weird, you know, he doesn't tell me to do them on a regular basis, just really detailed,
Yeah.
oriented, nitpicky stuff, I felt like, you know. But then, so I was telling him, I was like, okay, like, I understand. I was like, it's just frustrating to me because I felt like I really went like a little bit of the extra mile to make sure that everything stayed in order while you were gone. Make sure this was clean. Make sure that was clean. And I was like, it's all stuff that you've told me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I did it. I'm doing it, you know. And I was like, it's just, it'd be nice to be like, hey, I noticed that you did this, but now you need to do this too.
Right.
You know. And he was just like, well, I'm not gonna applaud you for doing your job. And I was like, okay, fair. I understand the logic behind that. But, like, if you tell me to do something specifically and then I start doing it regularly, like, even if I'm supposed to do it, just hey, I noticed that you did this, thank you.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, it's motivating, you
Yeah.
know, and it's nice. So, he didn't agree, of course. And he was just like, you know, when something exceptional happens, that's when you deserve a thank you or whatever. And then, so, the funny thing is, so we have this whole thing, and then we part ways. And then he calls me to his office, and he's just like, I never get recognized for anything. I never get told I'm doing a good job, and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. And he was like, I am not going to tell you you're doing a good job until somebody tells me I'm doing a good job. And he was like, we'll see. We'll see how long it takes before my boss tells me that I'm doing a good job. And he was like, nobody tells you you do a good job. That's not how life works, blah-de-blah-de-blah. And I was just like, fine. I was like, I think you should be recognized because you have done a lot for the kitchen. And he was just like, no, that's not how it works. My boss is never going to tell me I did a good job. So that was yesterday, okay?
Uh-huh.
Today, he walks into the kitchen and he goes, "Guess what?" And I go, "What?" And he goes, "We got an award." And we got a certificate. The kitchen got a certificate for, I can't remember the proper wording, but it's like a certificate acknowledging our continued support of disabled workers, because all of our dishwashers are handicapped.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been that way for probably over a year now. And so we got an award for a commitment to hiring disabled workers. And I was just like, in your face! You got recognized for doing something good. You bitch!
Did he note the irony there between like what happened today and what he had just said to you yesterday?
He didn't quite note the irony, but he did come in and he was just like, "Here's your pat on the back," and like gave me a pat on the back and showed me, and I was just like, "Oh, look at that!" And I patted him on the back too. So it was. We had a laugh about it, but it was nice to have that whole conversation about how nobody's ever going to tell you do a good job.
Well, you make so much food, you do all this stuff, you cook constantly, so I'm sure it feels nice to serve up a nice piece of humble pie every now and then.
Just a little bit. And a lot of it is that, cooking was completely different when he was up and coming. It's a completely different environment today than it was then, and he's old school, and that's just how it is, and that's fine.
Well, it's the difference between working at like a traditional biker shop for tattoos as opposed to coming in working for someone like Jess.
Exactly.
Just what she went through, and Lindsay, I'm sure, did the same thing, getting hazed and that old school mentality where it's like, we're not going to respect you out of the gate. You've got to kind of earn it from us, as opposed to presenting people with respect off the bat and then being like, this is yours just because you're here. It's your job to keep it.
Right.
Don't lose our respect. Which I think is a little more motivating for people.
I did kind of feel, I really sort of felt a little millennial in my argument, like, well, you should recognize me for doing a good job, because I did feel like that to the extreme. Well, I need an award for showing up to work, you know what I mean? But I do think it helps boost morale and make you more motivated to hear that the hard work you think you're doing is being recognized.
Yeah, as long as you're actually doing your job.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone needs to hand you a certificate to let you know, but the occasional, hey, good work, keep it up.
Exactly.
That's all you need. You're not asking for a trophy from the guy. It's just like, it's nice to know when someone comes back, Jess comes back from a trip or something, and the shop looks great. And it's like, yeah, that's what they should be doing over there if the big boss isn't around. Right. But still, it's good to let people know that you appreciate them actually doing their job, because there's so many people out there who won't or who don't. They kind of coast and do the absolute minimum and sometimes below that, because they know they're not going to get fired right off the bat. They can fall down below that expected par line until shit gets so bad they get reprimanded, and then they've got to kind of boost it up. But no, I get what you're saying. I don't think it's too millennial to ask for the occasional vote of confidence, just a thumbs up.
But
it's good.
Yeah, it's just been exhausting.
I'm going to reach in here. Beer Me Part 2.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Beer Me Part 2.
We are going to crack open this Highland Brewing Company Oatmeal Porter.
Ooh, another porter.
Another porter. A nice, heavy, hearty meal of a beer. Okay. Yeah, I'll fill you up here.
Thank you.
So, I suppose, as I pour this beer here, and kind of segue into our super scary
Oh, yeah.
portion of the show this week. All right, let's go ahead and look at this tasting underway here.
I'm replying to Andrew right quick on that.
Oh, okay. Did he come in with a topic?
He did, but it's a topic that we can't do because he said, make me watch the WK11 match. I don't know what that means. And
I'll go over that in a
yeah,
sec.
and it's like discuss impressions, compare and contrast to other matches / promotions. And I just said any other topics since we're already casting it all.
Yeah.
We can't really
I didn't mention that, so I guess I just said podcast topics, anyone.
And I don't know what he thinks I'm going to compare and contrast it to, because...
Well...
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh, that's even heartier than the last one.
It's got... It's definitely not... it differentiates itself quite a bit from the other porter we just tried.
Yeah.
In my opinion. It's smooth, and it's got a little bit of a bite at the end, to me. To my palate.
Yeah, a little bit. There is a little bit of that.
Like, not really the hoppy bitterness, but more like a coffee bitterness.
Uh-huh.
Like a black coffee.
Yep.
As opposed to the piney bitterness of your IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
IPAs. Goddamn IPAs. So, this week on Super Scary, on the Super Divorce Supercast, we are going to be chatting a little bit here for a few minutes about...
I am not a serial killer.
I'm not a serial killer. That's what it was called. You recommended this movie. You said you'd heard the title anyway.
I've just been kind of seeing it pop up. You know, it's a lot of those like year-end lists and Bloody Disgusting is, oh, this movie happened and this movie's finally out and blah, whatever, that kind of stuff. And now I literally, once again, just watched this. Like, I watched it, the credits rolled, and like 10 minutes later I drove over here.
Okay, good. So it's nice and fresh. And I just watched it last night.
I did watch it under interesting circumstances.
Okay.
I had to watch it at the shop.
Oh.
Because Lindsay had a weirdo that I had to go save her from. Unfortunately, I didn't actually get to save her. He left before I got there.
Okay.
But she was just like, yo, I really don't want to tattoo this dude.
Yeah.
Because he's being a weirdo. And she's like, come in and pretend to be my client. So I went in and I had to watch it at the shop. So it was a little... I watched the whole thing, but we watched it in the lobby. So there was a slight... Just a slight disconnect there, you know what I mean? It's just a little...
That's a bummer. I'm going to go on record and say it's a bummer.
But I paid attention and I watched it and it was, you know, but a lot of Christopher Lloyd's lines were mumble jumbled and I didn't quite catch a lot of it.
Well,
but I plan on watching it again.
This movie just came out last year.
Yeah. Last year as in 2016.
Right.
Because we're brand new into 2017.
Based on a novel written by Dan Wells. The screenplay was written by Christopher Hyde and Billy O'Brien. Billy O'Brien also directed the movie. Big names in this one. It stars Christopher Lloyd, as you just said.
Yep.
The Christopher Lloyd.
The Back to the Future Addams Family Christopher Lloyd.
It's pretty interesting to see him in just like this kind of indie horror movie, you know, in 2016.
Yeah, I liked it though.
Yeah, it was neat. And then Max Records as John Wayne Cleaver, the main character in the movie, who you might recognize from the Where the Wild Things Are movie that came out.
He's a little older.
Yeah.
Significantly older, but...
I think that came out in maybe 2009 or so. Something like that.
Yeah. Also, if you are a fan of Breaking Bad... John's mom in the movie plays like the very timid drug lord woman in Breaking Bad.
I was trying to remember where I'd seen her before.
That she's the one that like it's been so long since I've watched Breaking Bad, but she is just always very like when they're in the meth lab in the bus underground, and there's a bunch of gunfire up above, and like she climbs up out of the bus, and like her bodyguard like covers her eyes because she doesn't want to see all the people that they killed, and he has to like lead her back to the cars because she can't handle it all and that kind of stuff. But that's her character. She's like the timid, weird drug lord after the black guy gets blown up. Gus. Yeah. I think it's after Gus.
Okay. I'd have to go back and watch it because it's been several years now since I've seen it.
Yeah.
But she definitely looks familiar.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I'd seen her before. But anyway, I told you not to like read anything about it. Did you have any idea? You'll get some spoilers here.
It's really hard to talk about this movie without talking about spoilers.
Yeah, because the whole premise is it throws you.
Yeah.
Pretty early in the movie.
It does.
You know.
So if you don't want to hear any spoilers about I Am Not a Serial Killer, maybe skip ahead in this cast like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll try to keep it around there, and then we'll, you'll miss all the spoilers.
Yeah. So what did you think though?
I really liked it. I kind of caught on early, like before the reveal.
Yeah.
I sort of caught on to it, and I was like, oh, okay.
To like the supernatural part of it?
Yeah.
You did?
Only because in the first murder scene, crime scene, when John goes back to it and he finds that stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not just going to be... This killer's not just going to be carrying oil around or something like that. Like, it's almost like in a horror movie, if you find a weird-ass liquid, there's probably going to be a monster in the movie.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I caught on to the twist a little early. Didn't see who it was going to be, though.
Yeah.
And then I did like how the rest of the film played out. Where it kind of becomes this cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
And the parallels between the two characters with the monster and then with John being a sociopath.
Yeah.
Were very interesting. And I feel like that's sort of the basis of the movie. That's the meaning of the movie, or its purpose.
Part of it that I thought was interesting is almost I don't know if you've watched much Dexter.
4 seasons.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Well, the thing about the Dexter character that it was similar to John in this movie, the kid who played Max in Where the Wild Things Are. He is like, he's been, I guess, diagnosed as a sociopath, and he has these tendencies that would lead one to believe he might be heading down the road to becoming a serial killer, or at least committing murder.
Right.
He's got these impulses to do that type of thing, and
he has a lot of the 3 telltale signs.
Right.
Animal abuse, late bedwetting, like into your teens, I think. And I can never remember the third one, but it's something super weird. Like, I don't know, like,
well,
whatever it is.
Whatever it was, he's exhibiting all these signs. He's obsessed with serial killers, and so the movie starts off with him, and his town is on the receiving end of some heinous murders that start going down, and he is naturally interested in the fact that these kind of grisly happenings are going on sort of right on his front porch. He starts investigating, and as Bender said, it becomes kind of a game of cat and mouse between him and the killer. And anyway, what struck me as similar to Dexter is he goes about all this investigation, and he seems to have a lot at stake as he's sort of continuing to follow these leads and try and figure out what exactly is going on. And though he is diagnosed as, and you're told he is a sociopath, you know, he has no feelings and no empathy and all that kind of stuff, he still seems to have a lot of interest in protecting certain people. You know, when it comes down to it, it's like there's a glimmer of something human about him, the same way that you get that with Dexter. You know, he thinks of himself as a complete monster, like he has nothing at stake. He doesn't care about anyone, but then kind of when the chips are down, you see that maybe isn't exactly true.
Yeah.
So,
it's notable that either he works in or just sort of helps out in, but his mom is a mortician.
Yeah.
And so he is very familiar with bodies, dead bodies, and then also like the process, you know, the embalming and things like that. He does help out a couple times in the movie. Real quick, the third sign of a serial killer is obsession with fire.
Oh, okay.
So cruelty to animals, obsession with fire, and persistent bedwetting past a certain age.
Okay.
And so speaking on those things, I thought it was very cool and, well, not cool, but it was really interesting the way they sort of handled his whole sociopathic characterization.
Yeah.
When he's talking to his therapist for the first time, he sees the therapist, and he brings up, it's called the McDonald triad, and those are the three signs, and he brings it up with his therapist, and he says, you know, I didn't even think that harming animals was wrong until I read that it was a sociopathic tendency.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's bad, but like it's interesting.
Yeah.
The way they handle it, where he really is like a sociopath. They drive it home throughout the movie that like he doesn't care. Mm-hmm. And he really has these tendencies.
About most things.
But you're right. Like the Dexter, when shit starts to go down, he does express a strong concern or, you know, for these certain people. He's like, well, you can't hurt that person.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you hurt this person, but not this person.
Yeah. Which is interesting. It makes me think of, I remember seeing something a while ago, some article, that they had done some study and shown that sociopaths, psychopaths, a lot of them who claim to feel nothing, it's not that they're absolutely incapable of feeling, it's almost that they're able to turn it on and off at will.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be that you have a character who's only invested in maybe literally one or two people in the entire world, but to everyone else, it's like when John confronts that bully at the dance.
That was so good, and I loved that scene.
You know, he's first confronted by your typical school bully, you know, for being a freak and that kind of thing, and then he kind of turns it around on him pretty damn quick and ends up freaking this bully out.
It was so good.
You just have to see the scene, you know. But he kind of shows this kid, this bully, just exactly how crazy he really is if you're getting down to it, you know. Like, you want to call someone crazy, you want to say this kid's a freak, that's one thing, but to actually understand on an emotional level what that means for you after you're fucking with him, you know, then...
And then, you know, they still, you know, you mentioned you're dealing with a character that may only care about, like, one or two people, and they display that, too, because, you know, he's being bullied at the Halloween school dance, and this is that scene we're talking about, but right before the bully comes up, and I probably, like, part of the reason the bully comes up is because a girl comes over to talk to him.
Yeah.
And he kind of, it's like sort of obvious that she likes him or is at least interested, because I think he borrows vanilla from her house earlier in the movie, and she's kind of like
a little flirty with him.
Yeah, she's like waiting for him to engage in conversation, and he's just like, I need vanilla.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. But so they display this by, like, she shows up periodically throughout the movie, and it's very obvious that she's interested, and he just doesn't, there's no turnaround for him. There's no like, oh, this person really likes me, you know. There's no budding romance. He just like doesn't care.
There might be like some budding malevolence when he's like watching her inside her house at one point, but it's not, in my opinion, because he is smitten with her. No, you know, he's looking at her in that creepy serial killer way.
Yeah. But even like during the funeral later in the movie, she comes up and hugs him. Yeah. And he's passing out the I don't know, the brochures or the pamphlets, or I don't know what the fuck they're called.
Memorial.
Yeah, the memorial leaflets.
Call it.
You know, it's like informational about a dead body. But he's passing them out, so she comes up and she hugs him. Her name's Brooke, by the way. And he puts one hand on her back, but the other one he just like keeps held out, and people just walk by and are grabbing leaflets from his hand, and you know, so that disconnect with like everybody around him except his sometimes concern for his mom and like his sometimes concern for his sister is what you get from this character a lot.
So yeah, that's kind of a glimpse into John. Yeah. And then you've also got the killer of the movie, who, you know, we said skip ahead if you didn't want spoilers, but last chance. It is Christopher Lloyd, and they come out with that pretty early on.
It's great because they're following a different sort of shadowy character. Yeah. And it just so happens that this shadowy character meets up with Christopher Lloyd and asks if he needs some help, and it looks like they're going to go ice fishing. They kind of go out and onto a frozen lake, and the guy starts to drill into the ice, and then Christopher Lloyd goes over to the newly formed ice hole and is sort of prepping it, and the shady character grabs a knife, and it looks like this, you know, it's about to go down, and you're like, oh shit, Christopher Lloyd's only in this movie for 10 minutes, and then wha-bam! Yeah. Like, turns around and like extends his arm through the guy's chest, and it's awesome.
It's like his arm just turns into this black, kind of like tendril looking, it made me think of something, Krauser in Resident Evil 4. He's got like a one arm that turns into like a monster arm. It's kind of something like that, you know, but it's like all black and looks like it's got this sinew and just muscle, but it's very sharp skinny enough to go through someone. Yeah. So it's and then it kind of goes back into the shape of a human arm, obviously, afterwards.
Right. And so during the backtracking a tad, during the a couple embalmings at the beginning of the film, of the people being killed by this so-called serial killer, John notices that each body is missing a body part. It starts with a kidney, and then I think there's one other body that's kind of missing something weird, and then there's a body that's missing an arm.
Which kind of excites him.
Right.
Because he's like, oh shit, this is
there's
serial
a pattern.
Killer
exactly.
in my town.
And so when they reveal Christopher Lloyd as the killer, and not only the killer, but this kind of monster creature, they also show him, you know, crouched down next to the body and sort of start to tear the organs out of it. And what I put together throughout the rest of the film is that this character is taking body parts and replacing his own body parts with these newer,
Yeah.
fresher parts because he's trying to stay alive, basically.
Yeah.
And so, for the rest of the movie, you kind of get John trying to almost like at one point for a little bit of the movie, he almost has a relationship with Will Christopher Wood's name?
I don't remember now.
Will or Bill? I think it might have just been Bill.
But yeah, he like helps him take a selfie so he can send it to his wife.
Yeah, and then later in the movie, he's like helping him use the bathroom, and he's helping him into the bathtub, and he all this kind of stuff. And this is after he knows what he saw,
right?
And he's followed Bill. We'll say Bill. He's followed him around, and Bill's killed like 3 more people at this point, and that's when he decides to try and get kind of close to him. But I need to watch the movie again because of the situation I watched it under. But I felt like what I gathered was John was sort of trying to figure out how Bill could have the life he does because he's married.
Yeah.
And he's been with a woman for a long, long time. How he has this life, but then also is going out and killing people.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the monster aspect, he's curious. He wants to know what's going on with that.
Why he's doing it.
But the parallels between like his sociopathic nature and then Bill's character, like killing to survive almost, are interesting, and that's what plays out through most of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I liked it a lot. It was surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be the type of movie that it was.
Yeah. Just
from I had heard the name before, and I think I might have passed it on Netflix or something, but I knew nothing about it really, and so it felt like, I don't know, it had a cool kind of classic horror movie vibe to it. It didn't feel like one of these polished, overproduced year 2000s horror movie,
right?
Like the Black Christmas remake,
right?
And a lot of movies that come out now, they seem to have like this very glossy sheen to them where it just doesn't feel scary.
Right.
I don't know. I can't explain it exactly. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Just a lot of stuff. It's too bright. It looks too shiny. It looks too corporate in a way.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these movies that we've been watching have been like from the 70s and 80s. There's a little bit of grit to it, and I think this movie had that. It had a little bit of that graininess to the film, and the setting was pretty somber.
Uh-huh.
The background to the movie, the town that it was set in, had this sort of Midwestern kind of downtrodden industrial type of vibe to it.
Yeah.
So it made for a great setting for the type of movie that it is, and it kind of took you to that place.
It's it's definitely in line with like Stranger Things. It's definitely in line with It Follows.
Yeah.
Really kind of emulates the same vibe as those shows, especially with the supernatural aspect.
Yeah.
It's really great. I would really, I don't know if I would necessarily put it on the same exact level as those two, but it's very close. It's definitely in the same wheelhouse.
I mean, a show like Stranger Things, it looks really good, and it does have a polish to it, but it's done in a way where it feels like the best work that would have come out in the period that it's kind of set in.
Yeah.
The stuff about a lot of horror movies that come out now, as I was trying to say, is they just feel like, I don't know, there's like this kind of cookie cutterness to them, and this safeness where it's like, well, there are going to be a lot of like loud noises and jump scares and a lot of pretty faces, and there's not going to be much substance to the story. It's just a lot of shit you see, especially that, like, when you're talking about horror movies that hit theaters these days. It's just take it or leave it.
It's kind of like we watched the Purge election year recently, and it's kind of like when you think about it, really. And this isn't a 100% original opinion, but when you think about it, the Purge is kind of taking murder and making it cool in a way. Because what's the coolest part of those movies? The fucking killers that drive around in the weird masks and have like, well, how inventive are these people? And like, so in the,
I've still never seen any of them. So
well, in the Purge election year, you've got spliced in scenes, when they're driving around the city of like people who have gone through the trouble of setting up a guillotine, and they're like, they're taking people and executing them with a guillotine, and there's a bunch of sorority girls driving around in a car that's completely covered in Christmas lights, and then they get out and they're wearing like tutus and fucking masks with like cunt spray painted on their forehead, and then they've got like diamond encrusted AK-47s, and it's just kind of like, well, which one do you want to be on the Purge? Do you want to be the people driving around in this fucking cool ass car with diamond encrusted AKs, or are you the homeless dude who has a switchblade, who's the main character of the movie? Like, which one do you want to be? You want to be the fucking cool people in the masks,
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where you're I think that's an example of like the polish you get. Like, it's not creepy. It's cool.
Yeah. They don't make it uncomfortable.
Right.
Which, I don't know. I mean, of course, there are going to be classic scenes from horror films where the Scanners scene comes to mind. And it's like, oh man, did you see that fucking guy's head explode?
It's awesome.
But like in a movie like the one that we're talking about today, the murder, the death has a weight to it.
Yeah.
It feels heavy, and you're dealing with a character who feels that weight. It weighs on him constantly, and then someone else who's in the same boat but kind of for different reasons. And it's not just about how sweet the kills look. It's kind of like I don't know, maybe when these types of movies first came about, they still handled the deaths with maybe like a gentler touch. There was a little more care that went into it, so it seemed like a big deal when someone died. It wasn't just like, watch this guy get cut up.
Well, it's like, what is this? Because a lot of older movies are like, well, what does this death mean?
Yeah.
Who is this character to the rest of these characters? In The Purge, especially the new one, almost everyone that dies isn't like they're just a cutaway scene.
It's just a body to get.
It's just a body to be like, this is happening. Like, they don't have lines, they don't have names, they're none of the main characters, like,
and you don't care at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's just like, so that's the refreshing thing about this movie almost, is that it's so new, but it really captures that essence of older horror where, even if you aren't necessarily introduced to every single character that dies, it's still like, well, this is a small town, so each person that dies, it means something to somebody. And you can tell in the movie when it happens.
Yeah.
It's good. It was a good movie. I liked it.
Which maybe is kind of why horror hit people as hard as it did when it first started becoming a thing. Even going back to like the early monster movies, it's like you weren't dealing with a bunch of gore and just like frivolous death. There was something to the stories. There was like a greater weight there, and there was
a tragedy in most of them.
Yeah, and if someone did die, it usually was done in a way where like people felt bad about it, not just like you were applauding at the sweet death scene that happened.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong, I fucking love a good horror movie with some good death in that house. but But
it's
this
cool
movie
to
was
see
good.
that people can still make movies like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I would have hated if like any of the characters in It Follows died.
Yeah.
A little bit of spoiler there, but
yeah.
You care about them, you care about their friendship, and you care about their bond. Even though like you don't know anything about them really, the movie just kind of throws you in because it's that movie plays mind games with you. It appeals to your own personal paranoia, but still, like the whole time I was like, I don't want these characters to die. Like I want them to escape what's happening to them. And I think this movie, I wanted John to start caring.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to figure out what was going on. And I also kind of wanted there to be a subplot where people thought he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
But I think the way they played it was smarter, where like he knew and he tried to make rules to prevent him from becoming a serial killer.
Which was another Dexter-ish thing.
It was.
Because Dexter had his code that he went by. And that's when John starts freaking out in this movie, is when he starts getting frazzled and ends up breaking some of his rules. That's when he starts worrying that he's going to go down that path that he doesn't want to go down.
Right.
Which is another indication to me that there is some care there left, where he's taking enough concern and he's making enough of an effort to keep himself from going down that road.
Right.
If he truly didn't care at all, then it wouldn't matter.
Right. He would just kill somebody.
It's like the Joker thing. I don't know if you've heard people talk about that or thought about it yourself, but in the Dark Knight, the Joker's out to show everyone how meaningless and frivolous all their scheming is, and he is a master schemer himself. He cares so much about proving all these people wrong, and he puts all this work into it while claiming that he doesn't give a shit about anything, but he puts forth a lot of effort in his planning to make things go a certain way and to see certain results.
Yeah, exactly. Even in The Dark Knight Returns, he has to plan to kill the audience of the Tonight Show or whatever it is, and then he has to, he plans to go to the carnival and he plans to do this and that. I think he does like exercise a little bit of that, like once Batman is chasing him, especially in the movie, because he's just fucking killing random people. It's still,
when he's gotten to that point, it's almost like he's starting to see the fruits of his labor. He's gotten Batman's attention,
right.
and now he's
now
in
it
that
doesn't
chase.
matter.
Yeah,
now this is when all of the planning has led up to the chaos of this one moment.
Yeah,
but he still had to fucking plan to get there.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. That's an interesting thing about people in general to me, is when you're examining, be it a killer, like, or a serial killer, or a super villain, all these people who claim to be about nothing but chaos and disorder. Oftentimes they're revealing themselves along the way with all of the planning that they have to do to make sure that their ends are completed.
Right.
Truly chaotic people are a very, very rare breed.
They wouldn't plan.
Right.
If Joker was truly chaotic, he would just blow up Gotham.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a ransom. There wouldn't be a warning. There wouldn't be a, whatever there is. I mean, take any of Joker's plots.
Yeah.
Any of them throughout the comics, the cartoons, whatever. I'm not going to deny that Joker is like a fucking amazing villain.
Yeah.
It's just that...
But he cares about things just like anyone else does. But the things he cares about are fucking, wacky. And just insane and sick and depraved and all these things. But he still cares about certain things.
Yeah.
He cares about seeing his plans come to fruition. So, that's... I would say on the movie anyway, it's definitely worth watching.
Yes.
If you're listening to this and you have the internet, you probably have Netflix. I feel like it's become more commonplace to have Netflix than cable. And even people who have cable still have Netflix. So
yeah, that's what I got.
watch it. It's on
it's a
there.
good one. It's a good one.
I'm going to do Beer Me Part 3. Do you want in on it?
Beer Me Part 3, yeah, man.
We are opening up Fort Collins Brewery. This is called Scarlet on Brett.
Huh.
It has
pretty bottle.
pretty bottle and Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
So here, I'll read. It's a wild red ale. Aromas of pineapple and stone fruits from Brettanomyces.
Okay.
Gives way to a juicy mouthfeel and complex malt profile, resulting in an array of tropical fruits, mild earthiness, and subtle tartness. A mysterious adventure awaits with Scarlet Vixen. Pairs well with roasted lamb, nectarine upside down cake.
Good lord. That's quite a description.
Yeah. Alright, let's see what we're all about.
I'm supposed to make spaghetti squash for the first time ever tonight.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's going to be interesting.
I've had it before. It's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I went down to OTR a few nights ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was fun. Jess and I went to the Eagle. Have you been there before?
No.
Okay.
Wait. Maybe is the Eagle? No, that's not. I don't think so. I don't think I've been there.
Okay. It's great.
Yeah.
They little side story. They have it's like a grilled cheese, and they put slices of apple, like almost kind of apple pie apples,
Okay.
on the sandwich, and then it comes with I think it's maybe an apricot jam that you dip the sandwich in.
Huh.
It's amazing. The first time I ate there, it's the only place I've ever done this. But after I finished my meal, I had that grilled cheese and their spoon bread. It's like cornbread. It comes in like a personal cast iron skillet. And then it's the only place in this area I know that serves Lone Star beer.
Like True Detective.
Yeah. So you get your Lone Star, and it's the only place I've ever gone where when I got finished, I went to the manager and I said, "Can I speak to the chef?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And the guy came out, and I shook his hand and told him that was the most amazing meal I've ever eaten at any restaurant I've gone to. So, it's great.
I feel like is it near semi near
16
Madison Theater?
No.
I didn't think so, but we went to a restaurant after a Madison Theater show once, my family and I, and it, like, the vibe sounds similar. Like it was kind of a diner type setting.
Yeah, this place is very, like, rustic feeling. You know, it's like all wood. They've got like those sweet kind of like, what do they call them? Tesla lamps or something hanging. And
well, I feel like the place we went to, you know, it was very similar, but I don't think it was the Eagle because it was like, I think it was farther into Kentucky than Madison Theater was. Like trying to get back to 275 or whatever.
Yeah, the Eagle is actually in Cincy.
Right.
Like over by 16-Bit Arcade, if you know where that is.
I
don't know if you've been
I
there.
don't. No, we went to Arcade Legacy that one night we were down there.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm 27 years old and I've lived in this area my entire life. I do not know Cincinnati at all. Like, the only street I know in Cincinnati is Ludlow. And it is only because that is where there's a Skyline there where
Mhm.
that's where my parents had their first date.
Okay.
And then a couple blocks up the street is the Esquire Theater.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like, I know how to get there.
Yeah.
I can't tell you street names or nothing else. It's just like, I fucking know where this Skyline is, and that's it. And I think I can get to, probably not anymore, but I used to drive down there and go to a hookah bar.
We've been to Bogart's.
Oh, I know. Yeah, on Vine Street.
Yeah.
I know how to
So
get to
it's
Bogart's.
like, it's in that region of Cincinnati,
Yeah.
like that side.
Near campus. I know OTR is kind of like on the other side of UC campus.
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, we went over there. We had fun.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. It's a sweet tart beer.
It's a sweet tart beer.
Mm-hmm. It's good. What else?
So next Friday, our pals in Abertooth Lincoln are releasing an EP.
Yeah,
which is
I
gonna
saw
be
that
awesome.
they'd recorded that one. They've been in like 3 different cities to record it.
That's crazy.
So they recorded part of it in Atlanta, part in Chicago, and I think part in here around this area somewhere. But
Yeah. They're crazy.
yeah.
I love them. Also, next Thursday, if you are interested, I think Dynamite is playing with Go Go Buffalo and Abertooth. Abertooth's doing back-to-back shows.
Oh.
They're playing an Urban Artifact in Cincinnati next Thursday.
Okay.
So I'm going to check my Friday schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't work a double,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably try to hit that show too.
I'm down.
So hopefully I don't work a double next Friday, the 13th.
Well, yeah, if you're listening and you want to come hang with us, we'll definitely be there on Friday night.
Yeah, Friday the 13th at Blind Bob's in the Oregon District in Dayton. Like I said, our pals in Abertooth Lincoln are having their EP release show.
And also, if you come out, bring a few extra dollars so you can buy a CD from them.
Yes.
Or a shirt, whatever.
Absolutely.
Support the band.
I have their first album on vinyl. I mean, I do, for real.
Yeah. Did you buy that at the Bernie Sanders benefit?
But no, I bought it from him at Bob's one time.
Oh, okay.
They're awesome. Their drummer is so fucking good. I'm surprised his drums don't just like explode whenever he plays them, because he's a madman. So good. So good. But definitely check them out. Abertooth Lincoln, like Abraham, but with teeth. And then also, like I said, next Thursday, our friends in Dynamite Thunder Punch are playing. And I think they're playing some new music. They're working on...
Oh.
They've been working on an EP for a while.
Yeah.
Pretty much more or less since we've started playing with them.
I think like when we first played with them was right when their last one came out. It was,
Right.
like, their eponymous EP or something like that.
Right.
And
they've been working on another one ever since. But they are playing... I think they're going to be playing new music on Thursday. So that'll be cool. But we love those guys. Both of those bands are bands that we've played with many times.
Yeah.
And they're just great. They're
Look
great.
forward to playing with them many times in the future, too.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait to get back on stage. And I know both of those bands are so great. I know that if we get a show and we ask them, they'll be on it.
Yeah.
They're so awesome.
So
That's my favorite thing. One of top 3 things about being in a band is having friends like that. Kid Stardust is another band that has just been really cool, and we've played with multiple times.
And I look forward to getting out there and making many more new friends.
Yeah.
In bands as well as people who are just hanging out. It's been a dream of mine and like an aim to do that for many years. I'm finally at a point where it's just like it's time to just do it, you know. Like I don't want to be the band anymore that's like sitting by themselves and, you know, not blaming anyone, but just, you know, it's kind of tough to do if everyone's not on board with that type of thing, you know. And it's just you and me now, so there's really no excuse. We've talked about it, so it's like, let's just fucking go hang out and like become one of those bands. It's literally part of the scene. You know, you hear about a lot of bands, or not a lot, but certain bands who kind of become fixtures of a particular area, and it's tough sometimes to like fight the tendency to feel jealous or envious, but you have to understand that if anyone gets to that point, it's because they've benefited the scene in some way, in a real way. They're the bands who are showing up and playing all the time and making friends with people, not just showing up, playing a set and leaving. They go out, they watch the other bands that play in their area, they talk to people, they give them a reason to watch when they are playing, and then they also go and they make people feel good afterwards by talking to them and having discussions and making friends. You know, that's a part of it that has been missing from basically every band I've ever been in. You know, has been a little reclusive, and it's just time to shed that skin and have fun. You know? And
we're going to start next week.
At the hopefully at the Dynamite show.
Hopefully,
as long as you don't have to work.
At Urban Artifact in Cincinnati, and then if not, definitely at Blind Bob's on Friday, because I do not work Saturday for once. So that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, while we're here,
yes.
How about some comic book talk?
Comic book talk.
Because we also have to move SuperFanatics over here.
I can't talk much about comics, but we can try.
Well, welcome to SuperFanatics on the SuperCast.
Hello.
Let's see. I just posted a picture of the stuff that I bought.
Yes.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
Got a new Walking Dead, Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York crossover, Moon Knight, Gem and the Holograms, and Shade the Changing Girl.
Yes.
And I'm kind of behind too. I haven't read anything because I've been working on band stuff a lot and trying to put some gears in motion. We've been talking a lot, but yeah, I'm a little backed up on my weekly
I'm very
stuff.
backed up.
I've been making the trip and buying stuff every week. I just need to read it all now. So
I haven't been since I think before Christmas. And I did that, you know, because I was trying to get gifts for people here and there.
Yeah.
I have already resolved that next Friday when I get paid, I'm going to get a large portion. Although I did go today because Saga issue 41 is out. It came out on Wednesday, yesterday. So I did go today to pick that up. And my pull list was not as like fucking crazy as I thought it was going to be. I'm quite behind.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like overwhelming, which
did
is
you went to Nostalgia, I guess.
did, yes.
Did you see did they still have the Batwing from the animated series?
I did not look around the shop. I just walked up to the counter and asked for Saga.
It was back on the table where they'll put like the special figures sometimes. But they had, it had to be, I would say it was at least 3 feet long.
Oh my god.
But it was like a fucking huge replica of the Batwing from the animated series.
The Batwing from the series is so rad too.
And it didn't have like any, I don't even know, I didn't inspect it too much, but I didn't see any like noticeable markings as like which company made it. It looked like one of those things that they made 500 of, and there's one sitting right here, you know. But I would imagine it was probably very pricey.
Probably. They had a figure of the Scotty Young Deadpool baby cover with the suction cup darts like on him, and he's kind of
Yeah.
like sitting and he's slumped. It's way back from Marvel Now's Deadpool #1. But they had it right by the computer, the register, and I picked it up and I asked Tom how much it was, and he was like, and it's probably like 3 inches tall. It was in a box that was smaller than a pop vinyl box.
Mhm.
So it may have been smaller than that even.
Yeah.
But anyways, I asked him how much it was, and he was like, I think it's $65. And he was like, it's cute, but it's not that fucking cute. And I was like, yeah. I mean, not that I had the money anyways, but
Yeah.
I was like, that's the worst thing about buying figures, is that the smallest shit is so expensive.
Yeah.
But I think for me, I would have to justify it as like, it's a figure of this artist's work, and it's, like, you have to.
Well, you also have to take into account on something like that, if it's a limited run, that means that it costs more to manufacture, because the company
Yeah.
that is making it, or that's purchasing it from a manufacturer, they're not getting the price break on something if they only order 500 pieces
Right.
as opposed to ordering 10,000.
Right.
And they're not going to sell as many of them, so they have to make their money back. I get it. If you have the money and you're a huge enough fan, you'll buy it, and that's why they put them out in the first place.
Exactly.
Because they know they'll make their money back.
Going to. I mean, both you and I bought Saga action
Yeah.
figures for $65.
Yeah.
And they're
And
just
that-
6-inch figures.
That small Kyle Barnes figure
Yeah.
was however much it was. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I think it was probably around 30 or something like that.
That's my guess.
So, they make their money back on them. It's just, you can't get pissy about the price on it, because you have to understand this is a limited run piece and they have to make their money.
Right.
That's
That's how it works.
If you don't want it, then just don't buy it.
Right. That's why I'm so. I mean, we've talked about it on previous casts, but that's why I'm so fucking selective about buying pop vinyls,
Mm-hmm.
because I love them. I think they're great,
Yeah.
but $12 a pop, haha,
Ha.
pun intended. I'm just like, do I really want to spend $12 on this fucking 3-inch vinyl figure? If it's the right character, yes.
And anything they put out is going to be the right character for someone.
Exactly. That's why they have 8 fucking million characters.
Yeah. And they're not, I mean, it's still pretty cheap, They're
It
not
is.
$30 a piece.
Exactly.
You can-
Considering all of the collectibles you can collect,
Mhm.
pop vinyls are very affordable, But back to comics.
Something I wanted to mention here.
I was hoping you were going to mention this.
Okay. Well, I was startled and momentarily very furious. when I saw this issue of Moon Knight that I'm holding in my hand.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and I just saw the top right corner where it says #1, Death and Birth starts now, in the Marvel Now.
Cracked logo.
And it's like, it's got this red box around it for the #1. The rest of the comic, the cover is, black and gray, and there's a little bit of red here. Anyway, I saw that, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Not again.
Did they restart Moon Knight again with the same writer and, creative team? Luckily, at the bottom, it still has number 10 next to the barcode.
That would have thrown me off, too.
But you know what? You know why seeing this makes me mad? Why couldn't we have just done this the whole fucking time? Then you could still have number 700 whatever at the bottom of Amazing Spider-Man next to the barcode, and just put the fucking story number up at the top. That way you don't have to that way longtime fans don't feel like they're getting screwed.
Right.
Because there's
Spider-Man would be on, if they had done that, when Spider-Man died and then became Superior Spider-Man, they could have just said, #1, Superior Spider-Man starts now.
Yeah.
And they could have kept numbering it. And then when Peter Parker comes back, they could have been whatever that arc is called, starts now. Number 1, Spider-Man would be on like issue probably around 800
Probably
by
around
now.
there, yeah. It could have been like amazing with like a strike through it.
Superior. Oh.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
With like the superior number 1 up the top.
Superior number 1, and then down at the bottom, issue 701.
Like, why not?
I don't know.
Because part of, to me, comics is a thing where if you're a fan of a series for a long time, there is a certain pride you could take in knowing they're on issue 650, and I've been reading since issue 423. And you know, when you look at it, you're a fucking longtime fan. You've been right there. Like,
there's a couple series that I still have on my pull list just because I've had them since issue 1.
mm-hmm.
Like, unfortunately some shit happened and I have to play catch up, like major catch up. But I had this comic Revival on my list for a long time, and I stopped reading it after probably, I don't know, like 20 or so issues in, because like it's cool but it's fucking confusing as shit. Their issues are like up in the 40s now, and unfortunately I don't have all of them, but I got up to like issue 38, 39, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still going, and I dropped off. But Saga is a better example, because I have been reading Saga consistently since issue 10 was on shelves.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I managed to purchase issues 1 through 8. I found an issue 9 at a convention, and then I bought issue 10 and put it on my pull list.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just yesterday, issue 41 came out, and I can say I have every single issue from issue 1 to issue 41. Not as big as like Spider-Man with 700 issues, but still, like, it's the beginning, it's a start, and it's awesome. It's amazing to have all of that.
And it would suck if next month you found out they're going to restart Saga issue 1 because they have a new story, a new direction they're going to take it in.
I'd be so pissed. Because we're like, oh, I haven't spent the last 4.5 years collecting Saga comics. Like, it's just dumb. It's dumb.
It's disrespectful to the longtime fans, in my opinion, to restart this shit. Just do that. Put the story arc number at the top and keep the other one on there somewhere so that people can still see. Because I feel like it
the shit is, not to cut you off, but the shit is they have done that before. Spider-Man did that for a long time.
Yeah, they did. Like, when I first got into it, they were still doing that. And, you know, like, I just don't... To me, there's a certain prestige that comes with seeing a book that has a high number. And if something's 100s, you know that it's obviously been good enough to stick around for years.
Yeah.
So maybe you're going to give it a try.
Cough, cough, Walking Dead.
Yeah.
What issue did you just buy? Issue 163?
162.
Boom.
Yeah. They've never restarted.
Now, you don't have all 162 issues, but
No,
still, like,
but,
the prestige of going into a shop and being like, I'm buying issue 162 of this comic.
Yeah. It was cool to get, like... I've got the compendiums now, and like then once I got all of those, I just started picking up the monthly series in individual books.
Right.
It's cool to jump in on something like that and be like, okay, well, I don't have the first 150 or whatever, but I can start buying them now, and you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
You don't have to have been there from the beginning. It's cool to jump into a series that's you know, proven and you know, is probably not going anywhere for a long time.
Right.
So I don't understand the obsession with constantly having to reboot and rebrand and start at number 1 again so people can feel like they're not intimidated. And, like, really you think people don't know that Spider-Man's been around since, like, the 60s?
Yeah.
When they pick up a Spider-Man comic?
I don't know. And I hate when they're selective about who they do it for.
Yeah.
Because DC's really bad about that. They restarted everything, but Detective Comics is still on, like, issue 900 something.
Mm-hmm.
Detective Comics hasn't changed their numbering since the 30s when that fucking comic came out, you know?
Yeah.
Batman premiered in the 30s or 40s, and in Detective Comics...
And
it wasn't even issue 1. It was, like, Detective Comics 27 or something like that. And they've kept the numbering all this time. And now
for
they're
all
in the
these big
900s.
events, like these ground-breaking and earth-shattering events they do, like Civil or Secret War, I guess, and that was the one that was supposed to change everything, right?
All of them are supposed to change everything.
I never read that, but I was reading recently, and a lot of people were saying, like, everything pretty much stayed the same except they brought in Ultimate Spider-Man to the regular Marvel universe.
Yeah. Well, I think Secret Wars was a cop out so they could move characters over from other dimensions. Like you had, because I think, you had Spider-Gwen too. I think she is having a romance with Miles at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm behind, and I think that's more in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, not the Spider-Gwen.
I think
comic.
that's just called Spider-Man now.
Is it just Spider-Man?
Because they did away with the Ultimate thing.
What's Peter Parker's then?
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think Secret Wars, was just a way for them to be like, okay, we've got all these fringe characters that exist in different dimensions. How can we bring them all into let's just destroy the whole universe and then reform it into Battle Zone and have Doctor Doom hold it all together because he's somehow, like, the most powerful villain in the whole fucking Marvel universe. Doctor Doom's cool and all, but, like, he is way stronger in the comics than he has ever been portrayed in any other media.
Mm-hmm.
Cartoon, video game, movie, anything. In the comics, he's a fucking god. I don't know how it happens.
I don't know.
I didn't read Secret Wars either. I wanted to. And
like, I thought that there was going to be a big shakeup concerning, like, the past and, like, what was going to be canon. And it seemed like from the commentary I was reading from people in reviews, people were like, yeah, they did some things. They brought in some new superheroes from other places, and, like, there were a few deaths and such. Yeah. But, like, as far as what happened previously, they're still referencing stuff that happened 10 years ago.
Right.
It's just that the numbers restarted, and they give the illusion that, like, there's not this fucking 50-year catalog of canon that's going to be referenced. They're still going to from time to time, because I'm sure the writers are fans of shit that happened 20, 30 years ago, and they'll probably make allusions to it. It might not be out in front all the time, but they'll do it from time to time.
Yeah.
They were just in, like, the new Spider-Man, the Dead No More deal that's going on. Like, I don't know if you heard about that storyline at all, but...
No, but I assume Dr. Octopus comes back to life.
Yeah, the Jackal is basically... He's found a way to revive people, and then they're not just, like... They're not clones. These are, like, the real people.
Okay.
He's, like, getting their remains, and he'll bring people back to life. So, like, the original Gwen Stacy is alive again. Okay. At least in the last issue that I read. And they're referencing her death and how she died via, Spider-Man snapping her spine in half when he tried to save her. All this stuff still exists. So it's insane to me that you need to act like this is where it starts. You don't need to know anything that happened before because nothing happened before.
Well, even the fucking, like, after Superior... they got Spider-Man up to 700 issues, and then they were just like, all right, Peter Parker's dead, now Dr. Octopus is Spider-Man, renumber.
Yeah.
Superior Spider-Man, and, like, then they go for whatever it is, 38 issues or whatever, and then they're just like, oh, Dr. Octopus, Peter Parker is dead. Now Peter Parker is back alive. Amazing Spider-Man #1. But then, that it's not like, it's a continuous story.
And they did the stuff where you got another issue of Superior when Spider-Verse was going on.
Yeah. They
It's
were
like,
like,
here's an
guess
additional-
what? This still happened.
Yeah.
It happened, even though we renumbered and it's brand new and a jumping off point, like, Superior still happened, and we're going to fucking reference it all
And
the
they
time.
didn't start that back over at Superior Spider-Man #1.
No.
It picked up with
It was
whatever
32.5 or something
Yeah.
like that, or 33.
whatever it was.
Yeah, I don't know. And that pissed me off too, because they made a point to be like, okay, events that happen in Superior Spider-Man directly influence events that are happening in Amazing Spider-Man 20 issues later.
But renumbered as like #1, starting over again.
Why?
I don't-
Yeah, exactly. Why fucking bother renumbering if you're gonna make past issues that important in your current storyline?
It's just marketing. It's marketing shit where they're like, well, we found through studies and questionnaires and man on the street type shit that people prefer to buy lower number books, so we're only going to let series get to issue 30 and then we're going to hit reset so that people don't feel overwhelmed.
I mean, even that Amazing Spider-Man #1 after Superior talked about how Peter had been dead.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm alive again, la-di-da. Like,
People who picked up
at
that
that point
issue-
would have been like, well, when did he die?
yeah, why is he back alive? What happened? Who killed him?
It's not like he got
Where
bit
was
by a
he?
spider again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so stupid. That's why I cut all my serial killer, my superhero books out, except for Spider-Gwen and Moon Knight.
Studies have shown that reading Marvel might turn you into a serial killer.
Yeah,
How
It's
frustrating it is. Start hating everything.
it's true.
What do we got?
I don't know. There's just Jason sent a video or something. I didn't know if it looked like he might have topicked or something because it said tonight, but
Oh.
it's nothing.
Oh, okay.
It's personal.
I'm interested here. Oh, shit.
Huh.
David Spade was involved in a horrific car accident.
Oh, in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Was he looking at the Hollyweed sign?
Could be.
Man, I hope he's okay.
Well, it doesn't say he's dead, so
Well, that's true. That's true.
it would have said David Spade dead, I'm
Alexis Bledel joins Hulu's Handmaid's Tale. Who's Alexis Bledel?
sure. Let's see.
Who is that? Oh,
Her.
duh. Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I knew that. Also Sin City. Cult of Chucky.
Yeah. We were just talking about that earlier.
We were. I did not read an article. I didn't read the article.
Oh, you didn't?
I saw it.
Okay.
So I knew that it was happening.
Apparently it's going to take place inside an asylum,
Okay.
and there's a character in this movie. I think she might be the character who was like the star of the last one.
Okay.
Just give me a little bit more there. Beer Me Part 4.
Part 4.
But I think she was in the last one.
The Curse of Chucky.
Yeah. And maybe like her family gets killed.
Okay.
And in this one, I think she's in the asylum, and her doctors have led her to accept the idea that she's actually the one who killed her entire family.
Oh.
But Andy from the first two movies
Oh yeah.
is back.
Hell yeah.
Like, that actor
Is
he's-
back.
Yeah, he's back, and he knows the truth, and he's like coming to save her.
That's amazing.
So
I need to see all the Chucky movies.
I was surprised. I think we might have talked about this before, but because they look so different, you know, moving from the first two onward,
Uh-huh.
I thought there might have been like a change in like who was directing or who was writing and how it was handled. But Apparently, it's been the same guy the whole time.
That's so...
And all of the movies are canon. From the first one through the newest one that's coming out.
That's so satisfying.
They all continue the same story, which is like...
God.
And that makes me want to watch them.
Yeah.
There you go. Like...
Boom! Boom! Right there!
Like, I haven't seen past... I think I watched, like, Bride of Chucky when it came out. But...
Yeah.
I haven't sat and watched them. I couldn't tell you what happens throughout the entire series.
Right.
But I want to know now, because I know they're all connected, and that's fucking cool.
Real quick, Beer Me Part 4 is Erie Brewing Company's Derailed Ale. It's a black cherry cream ale. Mm. And it says, enjoy Erie brews on it. I don't want an Erie brews. Cheers.
Cheers.
That is black cherry.
That is.
That is almost like soda pop.
That's very tart.
It's good, but it's shocking.
Well, it doesn't taste like...
It doesn't taste like beer
tastes like,
at all.
Almost
it really
like
doesn't.
Like a wine cooler or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's got like...
It has
very,
like that...
very, very fruity taste
It's
to it.
very fruity. That's interesting. I mean, it's black cherry cream ale.
I definitely get the black cherry, but not much of the cream ale.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I wouldn't want that much cream in my mouth anyways.
Well.
I still haven't seen any Chucky movie except the first one. But I own Child's Play 2. Maybe I'll watch it tonight. Maybe, if I don't fucking fall asleep. God.
You sleepy boy.
It's just a lazy day, man. Today's a lazy fucking day.
As Andrew said earlier, he was talking about a match that you were going to have to watch.
Yeah.
And, you have to watch it. You do. It is Wrestle Kingdom 11 happened yesterday, and it's New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest show of the year. They call it their Tokyo Dome show, January 4th, every year. The greatest wrestling match in the history of pro wrestling happened yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. There's this guy, his name's Dave Meltzer. If you're a wrestling fan, you know who Dave is, but this is for Bender. He is like the first, I would say, legit critic of pro wrestling. He's the guy who started a publication called Wrestling Observer back in the 80s, and he would give matches a star rating, 1 through 5. He's been doing it since, like, I think actually the late 70s.
Okay.
And no one else was doing that at that point. And he, you know, typed up his Wrestling Observer and would send it out to his very small fan base. Now he's known throughout the industry, you know, and he's, you know, he's been featured on various shows that talk about the history of pro wrestling. He's like a historian. He's seen pretty much every match you can imagine.
Uh-huh.
And every time there's a big pay-per-view, he'll always do a star rating for all the matches that happened on it. Anyway, he very rarely gives out 5 stars to a match. You know, it's a big deal to get like 4.5 or 4.75. Almost never does he give out a 5-star match. And this match that happened yesterday between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, he gave his first ever 6-star rating to.
6-star rating.
Yeah. And when I got done watching it, I was thinking to myself, like, I've never seen anything like, it's just like movies or music. You have like your top 10 and they kind of shuffle around. You don't know exactly what's number 1 on this day because maybe you've been listening to this record, you know, a lot or something like that. But I got done watching the match, and after it kind of like marinated for a minute, I thought about it and it was like, my number 2, whatever it is so far behind this, I can't even like comprehend what I just watched.
Uh-huh.
It's just, it was like watching in real time. I don't know. Maybe you would understand thinking about, like, have you seen like a Rocky movie? You know, something like that, where just like any sports movie that comes to mind for you, like where the ending is just.
I mean, I've seen Remember the Titans.
It's really tough to sum it up, but the match itself was almost like watching a movie. Like, you couldn't believe that what you were watching is just two guys live doing this thing without it seeming choreographed. You know, as close to being completely convinced that what you're watching is real, but knowing there's no way possible that it is. You know, which is kind of the aim of a wrestling match. You know, you know it's fake, but you let go of that, just like when you watch anything else that's fictional. But it was on another level. It might be the one that that finally shows you what's possible within the medium.
I'm just curious because I don't know how I'm gonna tell. Like, I've literally only seen probably 2 other full matches ever.
You won't. I think it's one of those things where you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's anyone that I've told about this match so far, I've been like, make an event out of watching it. Like, don't look at your phone, don't talk to anyone, just sit and watch it, and you're going to be blown away.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
You'll wonder how it happened. It's insane.
I mean, I'm definitely not opposed or anything.
I think we should do a sit down viewing of it sometime before the next episode.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then
for sure,
I'll weigh in as the seasoned veteran, and you can weigh in as the
2-match virgin.
Yeah,
I've only ever seen. I don't even know who fucking fought. I saw. Well, you sent me one that was Japanese person and other Japanese person, I think.
I think it was Nakamura and Kota Ibushi from Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Yeah, Nakamura.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched Hot Chick versus Ric Flair's daughter. I watched that.
Oh yeah,
the cage match.
Sasha Banks, Charlotte.
Sasha versus Charlotte.
Yeah,
I watched that.
Mm-hmm.
The first female cage match.
Yeah,
that's it. That's my frame of reference. Those are the only 2 full matches I think I've ever watched. Possibly something with CM Punk.
Yeah,
when you let me borrow. Yeah, I maybe watched like a Money in the Bank or something like that.
Okay.
To completion, but it was a task. Much as I love CM Punk, it was a task to watch a full match.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So I played about 15 minutes of Final Fantasy.
Are you done with it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not done with it. I went through a tutorial
by
choice. And I completed the first mission.
Okay. How did it hit you just visually when you started
Visually, it's stunning.
Yeah.
It's like beyond, you know.
How about the controls?
I so fucking badly want attack to be square and block to be circle, and it is not. It is not that.
I just picked up my PS4 controller. So what's attack?
Block is square, attack is circle.
That feels weird.
Yeah! It's horrible.
I
have not tried to change it.
So you don't know if you can.
I don't know if you can, but I have not tried yet. It's terrible, isn't it? Like, just imagine running into battle and having to be like, it's
really
so
weird.
bad. I hate it. I mean, I don't, not the game. I just like the control is just.
I feel like square or X is passable for attack.
X is jump.
I mean, that's my initial thought.
Yeah.
But if you were going to move attack to another button on the PS4 controller, I would move it to X.
Right.
But not circle.
No.
Huh. Well, hope it doesn't ruin the game.
I'm going to try to change it. It's one of those, it takes playing, but going through the tutorial and everything, it's just like a lot to remember.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you can dodge attacks by holding square. And I'm like, okay, fine. And you like phase. It's really cool. You don't like, I don't know, you disappear and you reappear. It's really cool. And then it's like, sometimes you'll be prompted to parry. Like, so you hold square and parry. Okay, cool, whatever. And then it's like, after you learn how to parry, it's like sometimes you can hit attack after you parry and like counterattack.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. So you do that, and then it's like, you go through like warp strikes and warp points and health and MP, and you can use items and you can cast spells and you can, here's how you teamwork and blah blah blah. And it's just like, this button, you have to like, it's kind of streamlined because your directional pad is your weapons. So you have all 4 directions, and you can assign either a weapon or a spell, like an item spell, to any direction. And all you got to do is tap the direction and it's equipped. His weapons like materialize out of thin air, and they even like, you do like a sequence of attacks and then they disappear, and then you hit the buttons again and they reappear. It's like, the animation is just fucking sweet, know. So, and then, or if you have like a spell, you throw it, you have to aim and throw it and whatever. But then, combat obviously, as you would expect, gets a little bit more complex, and it's like, you have to kind of manage your all 4 partners' health, and then like, during a battle, they have a meter that slowly builds over time, and when it gets to a certain point, you can unleash like a team attack, and you have to like hold L1 and then hit the directional button and then also hit attack, and that initiates this sort of this scripted attack, from your teammates. And it's like, once the scripted attack happens, you're prompted to attack, and you have a chance to like add on to the damage that they've done. And then it's also like, sometimes when you parry and then attack, they'll attack, and if you hit O and within the right amount of time, you do a team up attack where they like, join hands, or they like flip each other around and they attack the same character a couple times. So it's like, there's obviously varying layers of combat. You can just fucking run in and sort of hack and slash everybody.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like it rewards you for being skilled in the game.
Yeah, if you're skilled, you can use your allies to your advantage, and you can, sort of command them to do things, and I feel like it's daunting, but I want to keep playing. I haven't even had a chance, and to be 100% honest, I was trying to play it, and Lindsay was home, and it was just I had to, because God love her, every 5 minutes she was like, look at this on Facebook, look at this, look at this, look at this, and I'm like, it's the beginning of the game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard to get into this game that I don't think I'm going to like.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know, this and this and this and this, and there's opening dialogue, and there's opening movie,
Yeah.
and there's opening this, and I'm honestly, like, you know, if she listens to this, I love her to death. Like, don't get me wrong. But I'm honestly, because I'm not that far, I'm thinking about erasing the game that I started, and like tomorrow, since I'm off and I'm going to be home by myself, alone,
Yeah.
restarting and really trying to get the feel for it.
Yeah. Cutscenes, mandatory quiet time for me.
Oh yeah.
No talking. No, I can't do it.
There's
Sorry.
this great, there's this fantastic opening scene, and it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Where, you know, you leave your home, your kingdom, and your car breaks down, and so like the first literal 5 minutes of actual gameplay, you're just pushing a car. That's all you're doing. But there is constant dialogue between the four characters while Florence and the Machine Stand By Me plays in the background. And I'm just like, this is so beautiful, and you keep talking.
Well, hopefully you carve out some time and you can
I will.
tackle it.
And I absolutely love my girlfriend. It was just the middle of the day.
Yeah.
It was the middle of the day. We were like getting ready to go out, or we had just gotten back from getting out. It was hype up time, you know, and that's totally fine. I wanted to play it, and I gave it a shot, and I was just like, I can't, there's just too much going on. I really have to focus on this game if I'm going to get into it. And it wasn't focus time. It was let's watch a movie time.
Yeah. Well, give it another try, and hopefully I can get into it soon too.
Yeah, I will. I would like to hear your thoughts on it.
Amanda's boyfriend, Rich, he let me borrow the DVD that came with the special edition.
Kingsglaive? Yeah, Cody offered to let me borrow it too.
Because I guess it's the prequel.
Yes, it is.
So I'm
It's
gonna
kind
watch
of like
that.
prequel. Cody was saying it's like the prequel / almost literally happening at the same time as the beginning of the game.
Okay.
And they really sort of blend together, I think. That's the impression I got, at least. So,
Well, maybe we can talk about it more next time. Hopefully,
yeah,
I can get into that. Maybe we can get some more Final Fantasy, and we'll talk about the Kenny Omega Okada match.
Yeah.
And
shout out to I'm Not a Serial Killer for having the Order 1886 in the movie. Did you catch that?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Completely random, not in-game sound effects.
Yeah.
But they were, in fact, playing the Order 1886. Which I would love a sequel to, Sony.
Maybe sometime.
It was so good.
A lot of people bashed it when it came out.
It was supposed to be an all-new franchise, and I liked it. It wasn't perfect.
We were both working at GameStop when that came out. I remember that was another one where a lot of people were guilty of coming back in and be like, this game was too short.
Yeah.
I beat it in one day. Well, you know what? It's
Congratulations.
And it was nearly like a launch title.
Yeah.
They're trying to show what the system can do.
Yep.
And it still looked fucking cool.
Yeah.
So maybe just enjoy it and be glad that you got this game.
It was at the time it came out, it was the most beautiful game on PS4.
Yeah.
Period. I liked it. I thought it was a good game.
I still haven't played it.
Oh my god.
Not that I was staying away from it for any particular reason. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I
liked
never
it.
had the inclination to bash it. It always looked great.
I played it maybe a month ago, and I was like, holy shit. Like, it's fun. There's a lot of downtime, and there's a lot of cutscenes, and there's a lot of levels where you basically just walk from point A to point B, and that's it. And then it's like, all of a sudden, it's like next chapter, and you're like, but I didn't even do anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's a very story-driven third-person shooter. It's almost like a glorified version of that London Heist VR game.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like lots and lots of story, and then it's like, okay, here's some action, get some gameplay in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, story, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that, but it's fun. It was cool, and I really wished that they would have been more proactive in coming out with a sequel, a longer sequel, you know, a more polished. I mean, the game's great, the game's polished, but an updated, you know, trying to top themselves, because it was a fun environment to play around in, I thought.
Yeah.
Hopefully, one day, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Fucking. I just want the next Uncharted game.
Yeah. We'll see.
You know I'll like that.
Well, I think that's gonna about do it for this week.
Yeah.
So stick around, hear our outro spiel, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, okay, bye.
Bye. All right, another episode in the books.
What episode number was this?
43, I believe.
Yeah. Dude, we're like...
Damn.
We're like 17 episodes away from a Super Divorce podcast pizza party.
Yep, at episode number 60, it'll be another pizza party. You realize we came back on, I think it was number 23. So
Did we really?
This is like 20 episodes that's been just you and me.
That's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's so much better than it's ever been before.
It seems like just yesterday we were talking in the build up where it's like, you know, eventually soon we're gonna get back to the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
We'll be doing it again.
Yeah.
There was like a 3-month break where all the turbulence hit, but we've been going at it since then.
Yep.
Haven't missed a goddamn episode since.
That's impressive. We've switched nights, but we haven't missed an episode.
That's right. Every week there's been one, at least one to listen to
for the last 20 fucking weeks.
Yep. We're gonna keep it going.
Keep it going.
In 2017.
That's right.
So, before we let you guys go, hopefully you enjoyed that. Make sure that you get in touch with us at Divorce Club at superdivorceme.com. Give yourself a chance to win the very first Too Sweet mix. And we explained that in the intro. But again, email us with the subject line Too Sweet Me in the body of the text. At the very least, include your shipping address so that we can ship you that CD for free. Totally free, including shipping. Don't worry about any cost. All you get is a free CD with some sweet music on it.
Handpicked tunes.
Handpicked
by
playlists.
Us.
Just for you. And we'll ship that out to you. But as Bender said in the intro, feel free to write other stuff in the text as well.
Yeah.
Tell us how your day is going, ask us a question, whatever.
Anything. Also, make sure to follow us on various social medias. For the band, you can follow us on Twitter at SuperDivorce, Instagram at SuperDivorceBand, Facebook /SuperDivorce. Check out the Divorce Club on Facebook. And then me personally, you can follow me on Instagram at BenderButt. And I am brand new. Well, not brand new. I'm back on Twitter now. And you can follow me at BenderIfYouNasty. That's you, the letter, not the word.
Oh,
so yeah.
In the intro, I forgot all about Snapchat.
Oh, yeah, Snapchat. My Snap code is my Twitter profile pic.
Okay.
So if you want to follow me on Snapchat, just like grab that shit there.
I'm in the same boat. So
Yeah.
I'm on my Snap code's also my Twitter profile pic, and my Twitter handle is Nicholas Villars. Same for my Instagram.
Yep.
So pretty
And
easy.
We're getting way active on our personal pages and keeping the band stuff for, band related information. So make sure to follow us because we are wacky.
We always get into a bunch of wacky capers.
Yeah, wacky capers.
Wacky capers and lots of hijinks.
So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and email us, and we will see you next week.
Adios.
Peace.
Super divorce.